the general.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here comes the general.
the moment you've been waiting for.
Here comes the general.
The pride of Mount Vernon.
Here comes the general.
Washington. We are outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, outplanned. We gotta make an all-out stand. Hey yo, I'm gonna need a right-hand man. We are outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, outplanned. We gotta make an all-out stand. Hey yo, I'm gonna need a right-hand man. Incoming! We are outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, outplanned. We gotta make an all-out stand. Hey yo, I'm gonna need a right-hand man. Incoming!
Hello all. Hey, welcome back. Good to have you back. Been a little while. No, probably about a week or more since I've done a video, so that's not a long time, but just take a quick first glance at this guy from Xtransbots. Commander Stack. Got just gathering thoughts on this figure as I look at him. So far, I like what I see. I like for this figure actually to be a little, it'd been nice if they made it a little smaller, but it's still smaller than the MP-22 for Ultra Magnus, Takara's version. But yeah, so far, as far as first look, watched a few videos. It's a beautiful figure. You know, nonetheless, it's beautiful. It's big. It is a little smaller than my other. I had sold my other Takara MP-22, and I already knew I was going to get this one, whether it had flaws or not, because I knew the other one was just outdated, and I wanted to sell it before this new one came out. And you know, Xtransbots has a very interesting rating amongst its peers, so. Yes, I knew this was going to happen eventually. This has been a known issue from seeing other videos and seeing this piece fall off of his torso, so his crotch. So yeah, first look is good. Sorry, gathering thoughts today. I think Ultra Max is a very important figure, and definitely want to get my thoughts gathered on him before I say too much else. But at first look, beautiful figure. I don't have my old one that's size compared with him, of course, but we'll get into him and we'll just get that feel and mechanics and everything out the way. Ultra Magnus is supposed to be directly opposer to Megatron, the new leader of the Autobots, and understandably so. He has the big frame. He's armored. He's actually the Diaclone came out exactly with the G1, the first season Transformers. They all came out about the same time. They held back on him because it's kind of like an armored up Prime. But during the course of the story, he became more of a just an underling to Prime, as well as some people believe he may have been Orion Pax's best friend in the episode when Aerobots went back to in the past, and they met Prime and as Orion Pax before he became Prime Ultra, and and Alpha Trion made him into Optimus Prime after he got injured by Megatron. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Interesting background story to Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus is a warrior. He's a soldier first.
Well, I pray that the universe gives you way more than you deserve. And when the tears fall like shooting stars, remember who you are. Just look look up to the sky, you'll see. But I pray that the universe gives you way more than you deserve. When the tears fall like shooting stars, remember who you are. Just look up to the sky, you'll see. I'm coming back for you. Coming back for you. Coming back for you. Ooh, you were never alone. Girl, I'ma see you someday. I know that I'ma see you someday. And I go take you someplace. I know that I'ma take you someplace. I no go ever leave you out. I no go give you no wahala. Always be there for you. Coming back for you. Coming back for you. Coming back for you.
You know, the guy that everyone looks to, you know, as sacrifice, as first one in, last one out, like his spec card says, and he's just a great role model to have, you know, even as a child, as far as you know, someone that thinks about all the welfare of others and not so much of himself. And he great character to have in the show while Prime was away. You see me in my opening credits kind of put his hand against Hot Rod because, you know, it's everyone has their own view of how that should have went, but you know, it's still written into Transformers lore and how the writers wanted to do it. It's their product, they owned it, so no further ado, we'll get going. Yep, okay, you guys, we're all down to the field section. Before we even get into that, there's a few items this Ultra Magnus has. First of all, it came with, well, not really first of all, just one of the accessories that came with is this Only Human figurine. I think I covered some of these even on my Springer about the one he had. I don't like them. Sorry to be blunt. And the only reason why I don't like them, not because they don't look good, not because they're not crafted well, and they, you know, this one looks really good. I saw one video, I thought the eyes are all messed up, but this one, mine came really good looking. But they should be figurines like the spikes and stuff we have in Hound that are movable. You know, they have joints, they have arms that articulate. When I see this, it's a waste of material. It's good to have a representation of something, but why not? You sent out Jansen, you sent out every piece of that Jansen accessories, they had articulation. Even though they didn't look so great, some of them. I mean, they still had articulations, and to give us something later off an episode and not give us articulation, I don't understand that thinking with Xtransbots. You know, they always do something that causes, they can do some really good things and they can do something that causes a lot of disappointment. And just looking at a few head faces here, putting on, I know that this guy has a light up feature as well before we get to feel and mechanics, but I just wanted to show some of these. You've seen them in, I'm sure, other videos you've looked at on this figure. So really good head sculpts, face sculpts, I should say, not head sculpts. But in addition to the one that, you know, I have on Ford right now, I placed that when taking pictures earlier. So yeah, it really looks good for this figure. And just for the general feel of this figure, I thought it was a little more, when I first started handling this more, it's actually more, what's the word? It's actually just more, or I just say articulative than I expected it to be. I knew it had more articulation, of course, in MP-22, but it's just really handly. You know, it's not, okay, it's not as stiff as I thought it was going to be. You know, and the only way to really judge feel, because we know all Xtransbots and Fan Toys figures that come out now have a lot of weight to it, is to weigh it. Is to see, you know, I know that my Galvatron figure up there, over here to the right, has one of the weightiest single figures, not like I make a Supreme or a combiner. One of the weightiest single figures I have. It feels so good. But I tell you what, this guy right here is 2 pounds, 3 ounces. Wow. For the height of this figure and the width of this figure, that is the heaviest figure I have. 2 pounds, 3 ounces. I don't think my Galvatron figure came to like, 1 pound, 11 or 14 ounces. I got to remember. Yeah, 1 pound, 14 ounces. So that's quite impressive for Ultra Magnus to weigh. I mean, what he does, over 2 pounds. And it's really a very modest 2 pounds. It doesn't feel so weighty. When I feel this guy, it just feels, it's so compact, you know. And this Springer here these are compact. Well, this feels really compact. But, you know, Ultra Magnus, it carries the weight well. It really does. It carries that weight really well. It's evenly proportioned through the figure. That is a plus when discussing an Xtransbot figure. So that's the feel. We'll get on to the articulation and the mechanics. Now, I'm not going to go deep into articulation and mechanics. I think we got enough of that going around. And plus, it's a new figure, so I don't go heavy into that. It can look a little up, a little down. Sure have 360 on it. I'm not going to do a lot of spinning on this because I know the shoulders have issues. So we've seen other videos where they pretty much just go all the way around, but I think it loosens after a point, and I don't want to do it. One thing I like about this figure, when we get to it only got 90 degrees on the elbow, and it does have an up, so that's great. Compared to MP22, I had to put extra joints, upgrade kit into MP22 to make all the joints move better. Excuse me. And I love the fact that they're putting figures with good hands now, and it goes like this. These hands go up like this. I love that. I love that where you can fold the hands up and like give it a stop suggestion. Hold your horses, like I said that last time. So I love that if they keep it up. They should keep doing that in these figures, giving them that hands up articulation. And then we got to be careful here because of the flaps that come off. And in the back, we know the deal. And this goes, good Monty on that. And that's the way to say it. And love the ratchets. They're soft, but they're very careful ratchets. I'll get back to the leg twist and all that stuff later, but I'm trying to get this right flap up. Okay, so before we get back to the waist, we know that goes very good. This is very impressive. It really is. It's very impressive for articulation for this size of a figure, and of course being what figure. So, waist swivel, no problem. Ab crunch, no problem. Back, no problem. That special joint they put in here, good idea. They could make a run with things that we could only trust them. So, we got the ratcheting on this so far that I'm noticing is the best I've seen from an Xtransbot figure, and how this in bot mode anyway. This is it's the best I've seen. I think I can say that with a clear conscience. It's a very articulative figure, and I think that's it has these tilts right here and up, and super impressive on this. I don't regret taking that risk with Xtransbots. On this figure. Oh, it goes in. Okay. So, all right, man. Up next is transformation. I'm trying to do this as quick as possible. I got 2 other figures in, and they're big boys, and I don't want to take a long time with Magnus. I think I gave a good, longer previous modules to this. So, no further ado, we get them transformed up. It might take a minute, but we'll get it done.
Breathe at the universe.
Okay. Got that done. And I want to say it's a beautiful, beautiful alt mode. It looks very beautiful, very well painted. There's no blemish on, there's blemishes, but nothing worth talking about in certain places. But this has been masterfully painted, as well as a Fans Toys figure. As far as what I see, as far as transformation, there's some places I'm having trouble getting to stay clipped in. As you can see, this is very, both sides really. Both sides I've been struggling getting that to stay in. The smokestacks are horrendous. You have to use like a safety pin or something to get in there to extend them. Not going to get into too much detail on that. Just trying to point out the obvious. I actually am missing a fin on one of mine missile launchers, and I don't think it's ever was there when I first opened the package. I have to look back at my old pictures, but I'm missing a fin. It does not have a fin there, so I have to ask for that part later. If that's the truth, I've been looking to see if I dropped anything, but usually I know when I drop something, and I have not seen anything fall to the floor. So I looked at some old pictures. I don't think it was there either. So, and just some things I will point out about some transformation shortly here in a second, but I'm just trying to see if there's anything to the obvious note that, the look is beautiful. The no need to talk about the feel. It's going to be weighing over 2 pounds, like in his bot mode. Very little articulation. So it's not a whole lot to talk about here as far as that is concerned. Mine does not sit very flat. It's like these wheels right here are not in line with the other ones. If you look for, I'm not going to go and pick it up and do a whole lot, but it doesn't roll. I think if I transform it enough, it'll probably get level and learn what parts need to come down or up, more likely down. So that may just be a learning curve, but it's not sitting flush. So I'll have to look more into that. But other than that, it's a very, very good looking alt mold. But is it better than Sakara's version? Probably. I wouldn't say it really is. I wouldn't say that it's easy to transform Chikara's and much easier, a few minutes. This took a half hour to 40 minutes for me to get that fully done watching the video. And you have to be very careful, but it's not like a lock type of careful. I really didn't worry about breaking too much. These smokestacks were weak, but I didn't really worry about breaking anything. So I'm gonna get into some comparisons. Real quick, I wanted to say a few parts. You have to stretch this out. I'm gonna put some pictures up. When you stretch the arms, I think the best thing to do is to there's the coils, the other part of the arm that transforms up over to cover the hand. I think the best thing to do, like you'll see in my pictures, is to put those up first and then pull the arm on the metal part, because then if you do that on this part, you won't have to pull on the plastic and possibly crack it. If you see my pictures, I gave you what I did, and I circled around the where it extends. So I would recommend definitely transforming that part of over the hands first before extending it. And one other thing I noticed is when, very small thing, we don't have to mention it on the backpack. You wanted to start using your spudger or something, and to release that part that clips into the shoulder, the lower shoulder blade out. Just do it from the bottom red piece, and then come under it, flip it out, and then that other piece should release when you're disconnecting the shoulders from the back blades. So for the shoulder blades from the backpack. So very simple, nothing major, nothing that I thought I was ever in severe breakage danger about. So, very good piece. I'm glad. I think that the trade I made was significant enough. It was good enough. Let's get into a quick comparison, then I'll give my final thoughts. So I got Fans Toys Voyagers. What did I say? Fans Toys Voyager? No, I don't. I have Fans Toys Motormaster, and I got TE01 Optimus with MP10's trailer. And just so you can see the size of them, I'll go around real quick. You see how they compare. I like the smaller size of this guy's probably still a little shorter than Magnus, but look how he extends. Wow, what in all one figure. That is just amazing still. And Ultra Magnus is pretty much, as far as width, as far as the cabs are pretty much all equal. But you look at the extension there, if I bring that up a little bit, they're bigger than Magnus, they're longer than Magnus, and they should be. You don't need a big Ultra Magnus. You want him in scale, and that's what I like about this. My final closing thoughts, that's basically what I like about this Magnus. It's in scale with the figures and stuff, and it holds figures. I don't really have the clip piece on the TE01 over here, but I think it holds everything just fine. You can sit some Autobot cars in there. It's not going to be a big deal. You know, you want to put a car in here, stick some on top. It's a little small, but let's see. A little small, but that's understandably so. It's a little small. Let me get this motor master out of the way. But you can bring these down in the back, roll cars up. It still holds a good 2 cars in the back, and it even closes. And wow, it could probably even do, I don't think you can get too much smaller than that as far as length of the trailer, but I think as far as what it's doing great. That's what you want. You wanted a smaller bot and scale with everything else. So that's my major thoughts. It's a great figure. If you guys do desire to get one, get one. You know, if you're okay with the car, then you're okay with the car. It's really your basis. I wasn't. I felt mine was outdated, and I wanted to be in scale better. So, no further ado. You know, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great week. Be blessed. Take care.
Well, I pray that the universe gives you way more than you deserve. And when the tears fall like shooting stars, remember who you are. Just look up to the sky, you'll see. Well, I pray that the universe gives you way more than you deserve. When the tears fall like shooting stars, remember who you are. Just look up to the sky, you'll see. I'm coming back for you.